Okay.
Yeah.
Sir, but at least now we've got to understand a little bit of that. I don't even want us to recap anymore because Yani will spend we've already done an hour. An hour like that, bang, just on recap. Okay. But at least I love it. I feel like there's been a lot of value in this. So where did we leave off this story, Fakii?
We left off at Capital FM. We left off at
First
Capital
and foremost, man, RIP Chris.
Man.
Like 1 minute you're talking about how he's impacted your life. The next minute, that is a video people are watching and just being like, I was watching this the other day, and now he's no longer with us.
I saw a lot of people talking about what has been said publicly about him on social media. But there's something, if you didn't have an experience personally with him, you'd not know what chairman meant to a lot of people.
Yep.
Like chairman meant a lot to a lot of people. And there are very many people who chairman gave a chance to. And you know one of the beauties about chairman? When you tell him, when he employs you, and it happened to me, and at some point you tell him that you're leaving the company, two major things that he says to you. Number one, he asks you why. Because he's curious to know, like, is it something wrong that happened that, you know, because he would want to try and solve it,
yes.
you know. Number two, he says, you just go. But if you want to come back, the door is open. Not many employers will tell you that.
Yep.
But chairman used to tell that to a lot of people.
What?
That's who he was.
You know, and I can now publicly say this because she came on TV. I was in school with Fiona, who people are calling Faraha.
Yeah.
Fiona Kirubi. So we're in Breban together. So I've known Fiona for years, and we're very good pals. Even when she comes to the country once or twice, we've met. So the day I got to meet Chris Kirubi, because publicly people didn't know about Fiona.
Yeah.
You get, so the day I got to meet him, I asked him about Fiona to see his, because I told him, hey, I was in school with your daughter when I took one of the guests from Nabo Capital. And I could see it threw him off, but what I loved was seeing her on stage and the acknowledgement of Fiona. You get what I mean? Of the two of them. That thing just it gave me a lot of peace, because when I was with the guy, it was close to Christmas and he was working. So I was like, I wonder if this guy over family spends time, over Christmas spends time with family and all of these things. But anyway, it was good to see her being put back on.
Yeah, me, I'd never seen her. I'd heard of her like twice or thrice. And it was almost always in whispers. I never understood why, but I was like, okay, that's family. It's none of my business. So I was happy to see her there. And I was happy to see even the way the others acknowledged her. You know, it was a good thing.
Where does the story continue from? Yeah, you guys, we have rabbit holes with you. We need to be cautious.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway,
so, there's one thing. There's someone who's very important in my life. And you'll see she keeps on popping up. And this is Monali. DJ Lil Mo. Monali, remember, by the time I was going to Capital, I left her at Scangroup. She was working at Scangroup. Monali rose in the ranks. So at some point, while I was at Capital, there was a gig. There was a major gig. There was a gig called Jipange. Do you remember Jipange?
Yep.
It was a big concert that was at Uhuru Gardens. And it ended up becoming a mess because the concert was free, because it was an AIDS awareness something campaign, and it ended up being a huge mess, as much as a lot of security had been put in place. Like the elements of the gig were well done. It was just towards the end and after, when people were leaving. Monali, because I had good relations with artists, Monali called me into Scanad, and I was given the contract to manage the talent. Remember, this talent also included artists from UG and TZ. There was also, I think, one big raga artist. I can't remember who it was, but there was one big rag artist. So him, I wasn't dealing with him, but I was dealing with the talent from Kenya, Uganda, and TZ.
Whoa.
Yes. Let me tell you, because see, I had to pay deposits. So Scanad sent my small company at that point a deposit for the artists. It was 4 million.
Yo.
Do you know, I spent so much time at the bank
Explaining to them.
explaining to them how my account for small money suddenly has 4 million plus. So Amuko, I go with the purchase order from Scanad, the contract. I go with a folder full of contracts from artists.
By the way, what company is this now? What's it called again?
This was I had the company was Talent Management.
Okay,
No,
yes.
it was, I had a company called Abxtrakt Limited, and I'll tell you about why the name Abxtrakt is important.
It's you. It's who you are. That's you can't.
So
that should be a ringtone. Hi. I can't answer your phone right now, but I'll tell you when I answer why it is important, why I couldn't answer.
So I had to go to the bank with all these documents, you know, to the point of even telling the bank, listen, in fact, and this was now, someone at the bank advised me, do this. It will be so much easier to explain this, because I had to keep on writing letters, then you wait for approval. Now artists are waiting for their deposits. So someone advised me at the bank, just do this. All these artists who you have to pay deposits, take their account details to the bank. Then ask the bank to even pay them directly, just to show that it's not my money, it's not, you know, it's not crooked money, you know.
Yeah. So did you do that?
Yeah, I had to do that. And then even for some of the artists, because now I was telling them most of these artists are Kenyan artists here. So what I had to do was to call the artists to come to the bank and get their money.
Yeah.
So the bank gave me a room.
Yep.
And someone, like an account person.
Yeah.
So they used to bring in cash. So I would tell them, okay, so and so. So you'd be told, so and so is waiting. Get them into the room. They get their money. They sign. They go. So a lot of the artists were doing that.
Yep.
The major problem I had was with TZ because of conversion.
Yep.
And then we were sending to a group that had, it was a whole choir. So now you're sending a lot of money to one person in TZ,
Yep.
but then you have to contact like about 3 or 4 members of the choir to tell them tumetumia nani pesa, you know. Yeah, so that was 2008. 2008.
So how did that go?
It went well. It went well. I mean, it was a huge concert.
Yep.
A concert with a lot of learnings. I'm sure if you have a conversation with someone like Chris Kirwa, who's become like a guru in terms of event security in Kenya, he'll probably tell you a few things about the Jipange concert and the learnings. For us at that point also important was the learnings. Like your security plan in a concert doesn't end when the concert ends. You have to figure out when guys are going home. This is a multitude of people leaving one place at the same time, getting into matatus, nini. Some are probably high. So
thugs.
You know, thugs waiting for them. So you have to.
Okay, let me ask you. At Capital, is this now where you set up this first company of yours?
No. So Abxtrakt, I set up Abxtrakt when we sold. So previously I used to operate Talent Management Limited that we wrapped up, the one that used to hold my music. So when we wrapped it up when we sold to Wananchi.
Yes.
So then I set up Abxtrakt. I had this dream of a clothing line that was called Abxtrakt Clothing. I remember even in 2006. By the in 2006, when I went to the US for the first time with Klepto.
Yes.
I went with 2.
When you went to the dollar shop.
Yeah. I went with 2.
Chop that money.
No, I went with 2 big suitcases. I had done T-shirts just with Kenyan things on it, like Kenyan flag, the coat of arms. I just went with a lot of Kenyan stuff, just simple stuff. Then I'd done a band written Abxtrakt clothing that I'd sewn on the t-shirts at the back here.
Yeah.
So I went with 2 bags, these huge suitcases, to the US. And I remember I'd done the t-shirts somewhere at, there was a shop that was operating from Kenya Cinema. So I remember picking them up from there. And imagine I sold all of them.
What?
I sold all of them. Like, I made more money from them than my cut of Klepto's performance fee. You know where I learned this? There's a guy who had gone to the US before. Do you know this guy? He did t-shirts with the logo of Nairobi City Council. Let me tell you, here in Kenya it just looks like.
Yes.
But in the US, that was a big deal.
Yep.
He sold a lot of them. And then he told me the story. I was like, I even may have to try. You know who this was?
No.
You ever heard that? You never heard that story?
No, I've never.
DJ Adrian. He sold t-shirts with the Nairobi City Council logo.
What?
That nostalgia thing was...
How can I... It's like going with Ketepa. How can I touch home?
Yes.
You get
in fact, in 2008, when I went with a lot of butter slippers. Slippers, yes, butter. Like, I went and bought butter slippers, and what people were buying them there for was 10 times the cost I bought them at here in Kenya.
10x.
Mpaka when they were finished, I wished I'd bought more. What I didn't think about is I bought for grown-ups.
Yes, you didn't think about for them buying for their kids.
Exactly. Mpaka they were like, you guy, you should have brought some for our kids.
Who would have thought slippers?
Imagine slippers, they were so jazzed, you know. And then someone even tells you they wear these slippers, now even their Jungu neighbors want.
You're giving someone right now watching an idea.
Please, by the way, if you're going to stay to carry butter slippers, man. It's nostalgia kabisa.
But okay, so that's now when you set up this company that you're
so
telling
I
me.
set up Abxtrakt.
Okay.
And I ran it for a while.
And you're this time it's your first solo, you're a sole proprietor in this one. You have no other people. You know, the whole time you've been talking, you always have somebody.
Yes, always had partners, So now this one was just my own. So I ran it for a while. I'm trying to remember.
And you're running this while the same time you're at Capital FM?
Yes, I'm at Capital FM.
Okay, so it's like your side hustle that you want to make your main hustle?
Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, even after that,
Zinakam. I can just see that look.
There's a thing we did with Roy Karuhize and Francis. There's something that we did, a gig, I can't remember. But when we did that gig, we got the attention of Tetra Pak. Tetra Pak is a company that does all these packs for milk, for juices and all that. Now, and it's so interesting because it took us a while to appreciate it. Tetra Pak called us in to do a campaign to increase the consumption of milk in Kenya among the youth. Because if milk doesn't sell as much, they don't sell as many packages.
Yes.
So Tetra Pak called us to and this is a story for before, I think it's for 2005 or 6. They called us and we came up with a campaign.
And this is when milk was in the triangle shaped thing.
There was that, but there was also the small to the other, like long life packets and all that. The flavored milk and all that. Now, we came up with a campaign, and when I say we, this part was largely Roy Karuhize. We came up with a campaign to push milk to the youth. So this campaign was Milk, Why Not? You know, like, just to make it cool to drink milk, just kawaida, you know. And we came up with Paka a whole rollout plan, media plan. We had a lady by the name Liz. At that time, by the name Liz. And she used to work in a media agency. So we got her in and she did a media plan for us. And then we presented And the client loved it. But then something funny happened. I don't know how this happened, but at the time when we wanted to roll out, milk consumption in the country went up. So they had no need for that. But you know what's important? Tetra Pak paid us for the work we had done, and they paid us so well that I bought my first car.
Fakii, I've seen what you're driving right now. First of all, I've seen what you're driving right now.
No, forget that one.
Ulianza wapi?
That was a Subaru Impreza.
Hey,
I bought a
bro.
Subaru Impreza
Ulianza-
at that time.
What?
I remember I bought it for 480k.
What?
So imagine whatever we were paid,
Paid.
after splitting with
And
these
this
guys.
is before the rollout.
Yeah.
So
this is
imagine if
before
you had
the
rolled
rollout.
out.
Yes.
Anyway, but at least it's, hey, you still bought your moti.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine.
This is before Uber, so I know things must have been thick.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
you were a cab guy.
No, that time, remember, say I still used to use Bansoft's car.
Oh, yes.
So now I gave him back the car.
Sawa.
I gave him back the car that he...
Oh, yes, because even this is before, because by the time you send you on Capital, you needed a parking space.
Yes.
Okay, tuendelee na hii story.
Actually, by the time I was getting that car, I think I was just probably either still at Wananchi or the transition into Scanad.
Aha.
So by the time I went to Capital, I had that car.
Did you give that car a name? Now the way guys named their first car.
No, did I? I don't think so. Did I? No, I don't think I did. I gave my second car name.
Tutafika hapo.
Yeah. So, where were we? We were at Capital. But then, something important.
And you've done this gig with Monali, sorry.
Now, when I was at Scanad still, remember I ended up working again with Lona Irungu.
Yes.
Lona Irungu was transitioning from Carnivore.
Yeah.
So when Lona Irungu wanted to leave Carnivore, she called me and told me, I have recommended you, among others, for this jobo. So I'd like you to come in and interview for this jobo.